If you or somebody that you know may be wondering how they can bridge their gap in retirement that they might have, we're covering two really common concepts here that can apply to a lot of people out there. One is selling a business and the other is filling in the gap with part-time work. So we're going to cover both here today with the help of Jason and Melissa Idaho. So first off, let's take a look at Jason and Melissa's situation here. So they have their banking accounts. This is their emergency fund. So again, you always want to be keeping the amount that you need in the case of an emergency in the bank. That can be anywhere from 2 to 6 months worth of income, depending on your type of business, your type of career, how much you feel comfortable sleeping at night with. Then they have their flexible bucket, their joint account. So this is money that they could use anytime for anything. Still invested in growing, but they have full access to it. Finally, now they have their retirement assets. This is where most people focus on, your 401ks, your IRAs, all that kind of stuff. So when we're looking at their situation here, they have Jason has a 401k, he's an IRA, Melissa has the same thing, and then they have a Roth IRA annuity here. So if you have an annuity, again, you always want to make sure you understand how that annuity works, the riders, whether it's an IRA annuity, a Roth IRA annuity, it follows the same general IRA rules. So here it's a Roth IRA annuity, which means it's growing tax-free. So outside of that, they have something that some people might have, other people may not have, and that's business that they own. So an ownership in a business. This could be something like a accounting firm, a lawyer firm, you own a landscaping business. A lot of self-employed individuals out there need to be honest with themselves for how much value does my business have at the end of my working career. In some cases, it could be little to no value. You know, something like a lawyer may not have much of a sale value for their practice, whereas some other businesses may have more of a value. So you want to really see what's out there because you don't want to overestimate what you may be able to sell it for down the road. On the flip side of that, you don't want to grossly underestimate it because it could be an important part of your retirement plan. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more as we go, and that applies again to some people, not everybody across the board. They have their home, they have a mortgage, car loan, so total net worth around $2 million. So overall that may seem, hey, that's really nice, $2 million, but does that fit everything that we need? And a lot of times, depending on what your lifestyle is, what you're wanting to do, you may still be looking and saying, hey, I might still have a gap in retirement when I go through and look at how all of this plays out down the road. So for them, when we jump over for Jason and Melissa to their advanced plan, I'm going to turn all of these off to start. So going over to their advanced plan, we're going to look at some different pieces here from both a business payout and a part-time work for bridging the gap. Let's say that they're looking at their expenses and they're looking at their cash flow down the road and they feel like they're not fully happy with that. They think there may be a gap. In their case, there's a little bit of a disparity between secure income, things like pensions and Social Security, and what they're projecting they think they may need for their expenses. So some ideas that you can look at here, one would be that business payout. So if you are owning a small business or owning any kind of a business, building in the business payout that you may be getting down the road is important. You should look at maybe my business doesn't have value, but the building my business in does have value. But this could be anywhere for a couple $100,000 to a couple $1 million. So it's really important that you're building this in if it does apply to you. So in this case, if we build in a business payout for Jason and Melissa, you see that they have that increase in cash flow as the business gets paid off. And now you see on this back end of the cash flow, it's looking much more secure for them. It looks like it can get pushed out much more fully without them having to do too much extra work or worry about that long term. On the flip side, for people that do not have that business that maybe that they're able to sell, an alternate for a lump sum piece could be your equity in your home. So a lot of people downsize at retirement. That could be another thing. I don't have that illustrated here. I do have that in some other videos though. For here, we're going to talk about part-time work for Jason. So if I turn on the part-time work for Jason here, you can also see how this back end of the cash flow kind of gets filled in more. And that's because these blue bars get extended. These blue bars are them working. And you might say, hey, part-time work, that's not a big deal. But if you earn, say, $50,000 a year with some kind of part-time work, $25,000 a year, whatever it may be, that really adds up over time. So $50,000 for 2 years, that's $100,000 now that you don't have to replace in your investment. $25,000 for 5 years. You could see how this adds up over time. $125,000 now, you don't have to be replacing from your investments. So a little part-time work can go a long way as well. So you want to make sure that one, you are looking at your situation and saying, hey, long term, how does that seem to look? Do I look like I'm happy with where I may be ending from a cash flow standpoint if I'm, based on the assets that I do have? And if not, what are the ways that I can bridge that gap? So we talked about a business payout. If you do have something like that in mind, or even part-time work, and other courses as well. I cover videos. I cover the downsizing of the home. So a lot of different options for you, but you want to make sure you are looking at, hey, if I need to bridge that gap, what are my options? And this is a good place to start.